Okay, so Sony just put out this PlayStation 5 teardown video, and the first thing I noticed was like, oh my god, that thing is a huge console. It's bigger than I thought it would be. Like, I expected it to be large because we'd seen like the paper specs and you see the pictures and you compare them side by side, but when you see it in front of a person and their hands manipulating the device, you realize it is a huge console. But the other thing I noticed is that because of its large size and its spacious interior, it gives you one huge advantage over smaller consoles. You can cool it really well. You can cool it more easily and more effectively because you can put huge components in there. You can put a big fan. PS5 has one fan, double intake, blows a ton of air in there, and you have a gigantic heatsink. And because that heatsink is so big, I think that the PlayStation 5 is going to be a quieter system than the Xbox Series X. Like, just the physics behind it, right? Huge heatsink means a lot of surface area to pull heat out of the system versus the Xbox, which is already a very sizable heatsink, but this one on the PlayStation 5 looks like it's 50, maybe 60% larger, just visually. It is huge. Now, Microsoft is using a vapor chamber on the Xbox Series X, while Sony's using a more traditional heat pipe system, but if they're designed properly, they are very similar. Like, I know the term vapor chamber sounds so much cooler and so much more new age than like a heat pipe, but they're basically the same kind of tech. They're just different shapes. And looking at that chunky heatsink from the PlayStation 5, I really believe it's going to do an awesome job at pulling heat out of that system. Now, the most interesting thing to me in this entire video from Sony was the presence of liquid metal as the thermal interface material on that chip. It is crazy. When I saw that, I was like, what? Like, we'd seen the rumors, right? A long time ago, there were rumors that Sony's going to use liquid metal in this thing. And I'll be honest, when I saw those rumors, I was like, there's no way. Because here's the thing. Liquid metal is better, right, in terms of thermal performance, but number one, it's expensive. Number two, it's a more complex application. It doesn't matter if you're using machines or labor to do it, it is a way more complex application process than just squirting thermal paste on it, right? You have to be careful. It can be time consuming. It's way more involved than just a traditional thermal paste application. But number three, the craziest thing about this is that in order for them to use liquid metal on the PS5, it has to be so well engineered. Like, look at this picture. I'm gonna draw your attention to two things. So you can see like the liquid metal layer floating on top of the SoC. But look at the foam barrier that's surrounding the chip. So that is put in place to prevent the liquid metal from spilling out and going into the rest of the system, because if a drop of that stuff comes out, it'll screw things up really quickly. And if you look closely, there seems to be a second inner trim of some kind of sponge or foam-based material, possibly to prevent the stuff from spilling out as well. The whole thing is, though, if you have liquid metal, because it's gallium-based, it's conductive, if it comes out of that area and it touches any kind of metal contacts on the rest of your PlayStation 5, it can short-circuit it real fast. So it's got to be really well engineered. But the reason why I find this so interesting is that I don't think this has ever been done before. I can't think of another time when a consumer item that's mass produced, right? There's gonna be like 10 millions of PlayStation 5, tens of millions of PlayStation 5s, maybe hundreds of millions at the end, running liquid metal. And it's crazy. It's cool. But remember, Sony did this in the pursuit of thermal performance. It's a bit of a risk, right? It's a lot more complex than just regular thermal paste, but I think the payoff is that you get a system that is incredibly well cooled and quiet. The PlayStation 5 seems so well engineered to me, like from the side panels that pop off easily to those dust collection ports where you can just like vacuum out the dust that builds up, to the bottom stand that comes off and has a little area we can put the screw back into. Like, it just seems so well engineered. It feels so Japanese, right? Where there's like so meticulous about these engineering decisions and everything just kind of works out really nicely. It's so Sony, and I love it. They also showed the area that's going to house the expansion slot. So if you want to get extra storage for the PS5, you would plug it up in here. But the whole system feels so much more thought out, right? It seems so well engineered to like the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro. Those were good systems, but this is just on another level. I feel like this is just, I think people are going to appreciate it. What do you think? Is this cool? Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. I'll see you guys next time.